So if you want to have your cake and you want to eat it too, but you want to enjoy it without all the guilt, we're golden, because today we're going to tell you how to do it.
Joining us now is nutritionist Dr. Laura Hutchinson with another Eat This, Not That segment, and we're going to talk about everyone's favorite dessert, cake and ice cream.
Yes, cake and ice cream.
So there is a way that you can eat this. It is edible without being too bad for you.
Yes, yes. You know, we all have a certain number of discretionary calories every day. So those are the fun extra fat and extra sugar that we can add on after we eat our healthy meals. So the key is really, you know, choosing the best option, trying to make things as more nutrient dense, and then also making sure portion sizes are kept in check.
I think portion sizes are one of the hardest things for me when it comes to dessert.
It's tricky. For me, I feel like I need to reward myself, you know what I mean? If I've been eating all those nutrient-dense foods, I feel like I'm entitled to have some dessert, even though it might not be helping me long term. I'm okay with it. So what do we have over here?
Okay, so we're starting off with ice cream. So if we think about ice cream, you know, the Eat This, we want to go for frozen yogurt or soft serve ice cream, which has a little bit more air in it, so you actually get a little bit more volume of ice cream for less calories. But something you need to watch out for in terms of soft serve is any mix-ins. So, you know, like these Reese's peanut butter cups, if you had some sort of mix-in like a Blizzard or a Flurry or all those things that are mixed into soft serve lately, you could have up to a king-size Reese's bar mixed into that ice cream, and you don't even really notice it because it just adds the flavor. So that could add 300 to 500 calories to your soft serve ice cream.
It's a lot of calories.
Yes.
I'm loving that you were saying soft serve ice cream is okay because it's one of my favorite things. We're finally on the same page.
Right, right. Well,
what about the ice creams that say, you know, 50% less fat, half the sugar, half the calories? Are those, can we do
yeah,
those?
so I have over here a couple, you know, I have frozen yogurt, which, you know, is a little bit lower in fat, lower in calories, and then also Breyer's ice cream, which is soft churned. And soft churned really means, just like soft serve, there's a little bit more air in there. So usually there's only about 100 calories per half cup and roughly 3 or 4 grams of fat. Whereas if you go to those premium ice creams like your Haagen-Dazs, your Ben & Jerry's, in a half cup serving, you might have up to 250 calories and possibly up to, you know, 5-6 grams of saturated fat and over 10 grams of total fat.
And that's a lot of your daily intake, too.
It is. And saturated fat with dairy adds up really fast, and we really want to keep the saturated fat in our diet to less than 7% of our total calories.
And just so we all know, saturated fat is that, it's animal fat kind of, right?
Yep, so we find saturated fat in animal fat, so your meat and your dairy typically. And so we do want to keep that to a minimum because it's the heart clogging fat. It's the kind that raises our cholesterol and raises our risk for heart disease.
It's the kind that'll get us.
It'll get us, it's true.
So shall we move on to cake?
Sure, let's move on to cake. So with cake, you know, a couple things. We have the cake and then we have the icing, right? So if we're looking at cake, our Eat This is angel food cake. Angel food cake, you know, is really made with some flour, some sugar, and some egg white, so it's very light and fluffy, and we can have a pretty big piece with relatively few calories and almost 0 fat grams.
Okay. And then as far as the cupcakes, are these Eat This or not?
So the cupcakes, I did a little bit of both for you, Alora, because I know you always like the not that's that I show.
I know.
So you know, the cupcakes in general, if we have, you know, a devil's food cake or a regular yellow cake or a pound cake, you know, a pound cake is called a pound cake because there's a pound of butter in it.
Oh.
So when
that's why it's called a pound
yes,
cake?
yes. So when we look at that, you know, it adds a lot of fat, a lot of saturated fat. So, you know, I would definitely say that a traditional cake is a not that, but they make things in these nice little tiny bite-sized bites now where you can only have, you know, a mini cupcake might have around 100 calories in it. So that definitely fits into your discretionary calorie allowance.
And like we were talking earlier, it's all about portion control. So Eat This, I only want to eat one of these. If I eat all 4, then I get into the not that.
Right,
yeah, it's true.
right.
It's Eat This just a little bit.
Yeah, and then also with the toppings, right? So 2 tablespoons of your regular icing that you might get at a grocery store to ice your cake with has about 140 calories and 8 grams of fat per 2 tablespoons. Whereas because of the air, again, with the whipped cream, 2 tablespoons of whipped cream only has about 15 calories. So if you can go for the whipped cream and just have a little bit, you know, you end up with a lot less calories and still get that flavor.
Well, Dr. Hutchinson, I'm feeling a little bit better about this right now, knowing that I can have a little bit, and there's some eat thises here, and there's some eat thises over here.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little bit better. Thank you
good.
so much.
I'm glad.
So a little bit later in the show, we are going to make a cake, but we're going to make an eat this, not that cake. Welcome back to Mass Appeal, and we are back with nutritionist Dr. Laura Hutchinson, and we're going to make our own Eat This cake and ice cream. Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah,
get
thanks
started.
for having me. All right, so this is a little Weight Watchers secret, this cake, and baking is really chemistry, you know, so anytime you can find some sort of substitution for, say, oil and eggs, then that is pretty helpful if you can find a healthier substitute. So somebody brilliantly found that if you mix a cake mix, you know, just your regular cake mix from the store, a yellow cake with a can of 7-Up.
Does it have to be diet? Because this one's diet.
Well, we did diet because it's sugar-free, but you don't have to do diet if you don't want to, you know, so, but it would add, you know, a few calories and some sugar in there. And so all you do, these are the only 2 ingredients.
That's it?
That's it.
No egg, no flour.
That's
no...
mind-boggling to me that it actually works.
I know, so you take away the ½ cup of vegetable oil and you take away 3 eggs, and all you put in is this can of Diet Sprite. It works for chocolate cake too, but you'd use Diet Coke instead of Diet Sprite.
Can we try it?
Yeah, we're gonna try it. All right, so
Get that open.
Now, what I'm
open
wondering,
our can.
I don't drink soda, so I'm not familiar with you know, what 7-Up tastes like, but I see lemons and limes on it.
Oh, it's good, Seth. Trust me.
Yeah.
Is the cake gonna have a lemony, limey taste?
Well, you know, not too much. It's, you know, it says lemon lime, but, you know, it sort of tastes like sugar.
Yeah, Sprite doesn't really taste exactly, or
And
any
seltzer.
lemon lime soda for that matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't exactly taste like lemon and
I'm
lime.
fascinated by this right
So
now.
it's just 1 can or 12 ounces of 7-Up.
I wonder if it would work with soda water or seltzer, something
Yeah,
like that.
it does work with seltzer. It doesn't have quite the same consistency, and, you know, I don't know the exact chemistry behind it, but I think the reasoning is probably has to do with some of the preservatives that they add in here, whereas seltzer water, you know, is just
purely
water and
water.
bubbles. Yeah.
Well,
So-
it looks cool.
Yeah.
All that bubble.
Yeah, it's gonna stop bubbling, but all we do is follow the directions. So, you know, you look on the back of the cake directions and you say, okay, bake time 28 to 33 minutes, you know, at 350. So we're just gonna mix this pretty well here.
And like you can do
Let me
with
get
regular
this
cakes
can
too.
out of the way.
You can make it into a cake, you can make it into cake pops, you can make it into mini muffins.
Exactly.
Or cupcakes.
Because you can still watch your portions.
Yep, and so you can see here that the consistency is really starting to look like a regular cake, right?
yeah.
And so we put it into 2 8-inch rounds here. So we'll just fill one of these up with about half the batter.
You know what's fascinating about this? I was just glancing at the nutrition information right over here because
Mm-hmm.
it's always written twice. There's the way that it comes just the mix itself, and then there's the way that it's prepared as per the instructions. And when it's just the mix, there's almost no fat in it. It's very little.
No, it's, you know, it's sugar and flour and some sort of rising agents like a baking powder or baking soda, and then a little bit of vanilla flavoring. So, you know, this really reduces the fat and the calories for your cake, for sure.
Love it, because yeah, you're not putting in the egg, you're not putting in the vegetable oil. Now, how are we gonna make and eat this ice cream?
We need
right.
ice cream to go with our
if
cake.
you
do.
can pull this off, Dr. Hutchinson, I'm going to be very
Okay.
impressed.
All right. So we can make our own ice cream out of frozen fruit. And, you know, I chose today to do a banana chocolate peanut butter ice cream because it is one of my favorite combinations of flavors. And, you know, I had my little Ben & Jerry's over there that said, don't eat that. Peanut butter, banana chocolate ice cream. So we're gonna make our own that's a little bit healthier.
Sounds
Good to me.
great.
So our ingredients that we're gonna use are 3 frozen bananas, all right? So, you know, you peel them, you cut them up, just put them in the freezer overnight and they, you know, get frozen.
Now, before you put them in your blender, do you want to let them melt just a little bit?
Probably a tiny bit depending on the blender. If you have a high quality food processor or like this is a Vitamix, which is like, you
It's
know,
like the
a
creme de la
godlike,
creme of-
yeah.
okay.
The top of the line.
It is. It's a pretty crazy blender, so it will blend anything. But if you just have a regular blender at home, then you know you probably want to use soften the bananas a little bit. So here we have a 1/4 cup of almond milk. I used chocolate almond milk in here just because I wanted chocolate peanut butter banana flavor.
I don't blame you for wanting the chocolate flavor.
Yeah.
So what's that, just a few tablespoons of peanut butter?
Yeah, this is 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. So we're gonna add the 2 tablespoons in there, and then just put a couple of the bananas in.
Okay. And this gives it that cream I put them all
She said a couple,
no, they
Seth.
slip. It's a very slippery bowl.
You know what? The Vitamix can totally handle it. So. All right, so now, you know, we have our little ice cream
And you put it in the freezer for a little bit to cool it out again?
Yeah, you want to put it in the freezer for probably just a half hour or so to just make sure that the bananas are refrozen again if you thawed them out a little bit, and then you have a great little ice cream treat.
Well, Dr. Hutchinson, toss it in there, throw it in the freezer, and we are going to dig in a little bit later in the
All
show.
right,
And if you want a
sounds
copy
great.
of this recipe, you can head over to our website, mymassappeal.com, later today.